All right, so today we're going to look at abstract eyes, noses, and mouths. And the idea here is how do we take a realistic eye, nose, and mouth and make it into something that's not realistic, but yet still identifiable as an eye, a nose, or a mouth? There's a bunch of different ways to do it. And I'm going to link back to the original video that we did way back in September on how to draw a realistic eye, nose, and mouth, because sometimes the realistic drawing is a good starting point. But let's take the eye, for example. Now, the eye, when we drew it back in September, we started with sort of a football-like shape. And I'm going to go quickly here. You can watch the video at your own pace. And we added another crease to it, and that became the eyelid. And we had this little partially hidden circle inside that was the eyeball. We had the dark pupil in the center, and we did some shading where we left a little spot open that looked like a reflection. And then we created eyelashes, which pointed away from the nose area. So if the nose was, to the left of this eye, the eyelashes point off in the left direction. And already we got ourselves an eye that looks pretty realistic. This is realism. So how do we make this abstract? Well, there's a bunch of different ways. First thing we can do is we can kind of distort the shape of it. We can make the eye shaped like more exaggerated or skinnier. We can simplify things that are going on. So instead of having all this beautiful shading and all that on the inside, what we can do is something much more simple on the inside. There's an abstract eye. Now, some people might look at that and they say, okay, well, that just looks like a little kid did it, right? But that's not what it's all about. Really, what abstraction is all about is that idea of intention and purpose. So it's not just like we couldn't draw a realistic eye. It's not like we weren't good enough to draw a realistic eye. We made it this way on purpose. And that's going to be a huge, huge, huge thing when it comes to these projects. The more confident you look in your lines and the more attitude you put into them, the cooler it's going to look. Let's talk noses. The original nose was those two little, raisin shapes. And we hooked them up with a little curve in between. These little cups that sort of fit around the sides, a little divot underneath, a little curve on top maybe. And sometimes, a lot of the times, we'd see like a little line that goes up towards the eye, right? If the eye was actually like over here, okay? So how do we abstract the nose? There's a lot of different ways. We can just kind of play off the nostril shapes. We can connect them in a weird way. We can definitely have lines that go up towards the eyeball. Again, making your lines firm is how you're going to get the point across that you meant to do it. You did it with purpose. You did not do it by accident. All right. Mouths are a little simpler because mouths, there's not too much to a mouth, right? We have the original mouth that we drew with a relatively straight line, lips on the top with a little divot in them, and lips on the bottom with not a little divot in them. And that was the whole basic idea of the mouth when we did realism. When we do abstraction, maybe we change things up just in the shape of it. Maybe we exaggerate the top of the lips. We make them uneven. There's a lot of different ways we can play with mouths. Even something like that, just like a cartoon mouth. These are all options for abstraction. So what you're going to do today is you're going to play around with it. You're going to try a whole bunch of different abstract eyes, noses, and mouths, and you're going to try to come up with a few that you like, and these are the ones that we're going to use on your project. So there's a lot of different ways that this can happen. So as we do these, I highly encourage you, send me some pictures in progress. Send them via email, or we can even have a spot in Classroom where you can upload them and I can take a look at them and I can help you pick out your best abstract eyes, noses, and mouths. Also, make sure that you look at all the resources that I posted in Classroom, because all of that stuff is places that I want you to steal ideas from. It's not stealing if you're an artist, it's making it your own. All right, so take some ideas, twist them around a little bit, change them up a little bit, and then it's your own idea. It's not someone else's idea anymore.